50 love.
Hello everyone, it's me Mufti and welcome to tennis blog number 9. Today we're going to be talking about the Indian Wells tournament in the United States. It's a very exciting tournament. It's one of the Masters 1000s that takes place next week. We have Miami in Florida, which will be another interesting tournament. This is a very fun part of the season because it's just after the Australian Open and of course before the French Open season as well. Now I just wanted to allude something to you guys that I remember we did do a tennis blog number 9. It was about Jannik Sinner, but however, because of so much negative feedback and stuff like that, it was decided to remove and obviously only right to do so. There was a lot of things in that blog which was completely wrong, and I only realized that later on, after it was uploaded, that it was completely wrong and therefore removed. Anyway, let's talk about Indian Wells because it's one of my favorite tournaments. It's been won by many good players in the past, Djokovic, Federer. It's a really good tournament, you know. It's one of those Masters 1000s which attracts a lot of the big names in the game. Of course, unfortunately, because of there are certain players who are absent, like Jannik Sinner will not be participating in it, but there have been other top players who've played exceptionally well. Obviously, if we're going to we're just taking some information here from the ATP Tour website, so everything I'm saying is not obviously made up, it's all there in front of you. You can see that, for example, Alexander Zverev did participate. He did take the number 1 seed here, not ranking, by the way. It does cause a bit of confusion, but it's seed, not ranking, so it's seeded number 1 because he's the highest player in the draw ranking wise, so that's why he's seeded 1. Didn't do too well, unfortunately. Lost in the the second round of the Indian Wells, but did put in a fight in the first set, but losing, as you can see, by 7-6, 7-6 in the by second to third set. If we're going to scroll down, Francis Tiafoe played really well. Obviously Holger Rune played well. Nishikori is back. That's interesting to see. Good to see Kei Nishikori still playing at his best, but unfortunately not doing too well in the second round. We got Berrettini, of course, Tsitsipas, of course, there as well. 6-2, 6-4. Casper Ruud lost in the in the second round, and that is a very bit of a shock, really. He lost to the American Giron there, and we've got obviously Popperin, Musetti, Cameron Norrie winning in 3 sets there, and so forth. So obviously Andrei Rublev, played not too well in the second round, losing to Arnaldi. So that's very, very shocking for the Russian player. Karen Khachanov winning quite well in the second round. Ben Shelton, of course. Jack Draper, very good. That's one player we're going to talk about in a moment. Novak Djokovic losing in the first round. That's a big shocker against Van der Zandschulp, who we've heard his name quite a few times, actually, been playing quite well in tennis as well. But he did beat Nick Kyrgios in the first round, so Nick Kyrgios as well isn't playing amazingly either. So there you go, guys. That's really we've got obviously Hurkacz as well, who played really well. Goffin, David Goffin is still in the game of tennis, doing pretty well, but unfortunately winning the first round but losing in the second round against obviously Alex de Minaur. Grigor Dimitrov is still playing quite well, as you can see, 6-3, 6-4 there. Gael Monfils playing quite well. Shapovalov playing quite well as well. Anyway, and Carlos Alcaraz in the bottom there, playing really well in tennis, of course. So that is just obviously quickly reflecting on the first round, just obviously mentioning some big names that had won and lost, but we can skip over now to the quarterfinals. Now the quarterfinals this is the point where it gets really interesting for me, because this is where you can see whether some of the big names start to topple over. Obviously you can see here that Tsitsipas is no longer there, he must have lost. Cameron Norrie is not there, so obviously this is where it gets really, really interesting, because obviously who are the big names that are left in the tournament, which ones who are not so big are still there. So let's go through it very quickly here. So in the quarterfinals, who won, we can see that Greg Sapor lost against Holger Rune, and obviously Holger Rune will now play Daniil Medvedev in the semi-finals. Daniil Medvedev won, of course, 6-4, 2-6, 7-6. Holger Rune won 5-7, 6-0, 6-3. Jack Draper has been, I tell you, this is the one I wanted to mention because Jack Draper has been playing amazingly well. Absolutely well, and he won against Ben Shelton 6-4, 7-5 very easily, and Carlos Alcaraz, who is going to be playing today, 6-3, 7-6. So this is, you know, very, very interesting tournament. It's been kind of ups and downs. Djokovic not playing really well, Kyrgios not playing very well, absence obviously of Jannik Sinner. So this is where a lot of the other names who normally you don't hear about are actually playing relatively quite well. Now let's move on to the semi-finals, because that's what's happening today as of this video, Saturday 15th of March 2025. Now it'll be interesting what's going to happen. Let's have a look at their head-to-head. So carrying on our view from the ATP Tour website, just looking very quickly on the main things here. You know, if you look at the year-to-date win-loss record, Medvedev is winning by 8-5. Career win-loss is obviously 387 to 145 of Holger Rune. The previous winning of matches were done by Daniel Medvedev by last year at the Indian Wells. So a year ago they played against each other. Daniel Medvedev won in straight sets there. So what does that mean for this match coming in? Do you think Medvedev will carry on this run against Holger Rune? Maybe. Do let me know in the comments down below. Or will Holger Rune, is he a completely different player? He has been playing really well. I have been noticing that Holger Rune has been playing really well. So maybe things can change. And obviously it is a semi-final, and you know, it is a semi-final, so you never know what can happen. And the last time they played was quarterfinals, so quite a different stage of the tournament, but still nonetheless a really good round of tournament. Now let's move on to the most exciting one for today, and that is Jack Draper of Great Britain will play against Carlos Alcaraz, who's currently ranked 3 in the world, you know, and obviously a champion in many ways, of course. As you can see in their previous matches, Carlos Alcaraz has won 3-1, and he has won 11 win-loss record, 11-7. He has won already a title. He has a career win-loss record of 220 compared to 86 in the previous matches. The only one that Jack Draper has been able to win against Alcaraz is in the Queen's Club in London last year, where Draper won 7-6, 6-3. But if we talk about this specific tournament, Carlos Alcaraz has beaten Jack Draper before. Now, so this brings into question, how will Jack Draper be able to beat Alcaraz? Because we all know Alcaraz's ability. He's a champion, you know, very competitive. He's got experience on the court, whereas this will be kind of a unfamiliar territory for Jack Draper. But having said that, the way I've been watching Jack Draper very carefully. I've been watching all of them carefully, but Jack Draper has been playing amazingly well. You know, if you look at the wins he's done in the previous matches, to beat Ben Shelton is just beyond amazing. And you know, and it'll be interesting to see what happens today. Obviously, nonetheless, you know, for Jack Draper to even get to this stage of a tournament is absolutely amazing. Obviously, an opportunity to face against a champion like Alcaraz, and you know, we wait and see really. Do let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are, and who do you think will win in these 2 semi-final matches. I'm going to go with experience here. You know, in the most competitive situations, I think Carlos Alcaraz will win, but again, it all depends on form as well, competitive form, because obviously, and how Draper will really play his game against Alcaraz and really take benefit on the most you know, important moments in the match. So obviously this will be a very good indication as well where the players are at this stage, because obviously we're coming to the end of the hard court season, and then obviously we have the French Open coming up, and obviously before that we'll have Madrid, we'll have Monte Carlo, we'll have the Italian Rome tournament. So all this clay season will be starting in as well. So as we complete the hard court season, it will be interesting to see where the players are at in terms of competitiveness, in terms of fitness and stuff like that as well. But you know, I'm all excited to definitely for this match today. I really think that Draper has a chance, because we have seen Alcaraz not playing that amazingly to his standard all the time. But it's again, you know, if we look at experience, obviously Alcaraz has really good experience. So if we're talking about this match specifically, I'm going to just probably give the tide to Alcaraz. But again, the way Draper has been playing is amazingly well. If we want to go back into the previous one against Holger, Rune and Medvedev, it's very unpredictable because they both play really well and they both have their goods and bads. So maybe on this one I'm going to maybe give the tide experience to Medvedev, but again, Holger Rune is an amazing, hard, you know, a fighting champion on the court as well, and he can play amazingly well. So we'll wait and see. Is what I'm saying. It's a very hard one to predict on this one, but I'll definitely look forward to watching them, and I definitely think on this one, based on experience, again, maybe the tide is going to Medvedev just purely because of experience. But again, anything is possible in tennis, and yeah, I think overall this has been a very interesting tournament. You know, Djokovic has been dwindling a little bit. Obviously there's no presence of Jannik Sinner. The other players out there are just not playing to the level. You know, we got Tsitsipas, who was winning at the start but then gradually losing it, unfortunately. Zverev lost in the first round, so it's really an up and down situation with the players right now, and we wait and see how it all goes this weekend for these four players in the semi-finals, and obviously the final tomorrow on Sunday 16th, as they win this Masters 1000, and then next week we will have Miami. So yeah, so that's what I really wanted to wrap up in terms of the Indian Wells. I hope you guys like this kind of tournament based blogs rather than player specific. I think this is the direction we really want to kind of focus on, really, because then that way we cover more of the players, more in terms of the tennis itself rather than their kind of overall personal situation. Anyway guys, do let me know in the comments down below, who do you think will win the semi-finals today, against Holger Rune, Daniil Medvedev on one hand, and on the other hand Carlos Alcaraz and Britain's Jack Draper. Anyway guys, I look forward to seeing you on the next tennis blog number 10, where we will talk about the Masters 1000 ATP Miami, Florida, and of course some WTA stuff as well. See you then, peace and take care.